Hello, and welcome to the Lack of Use Audit tutorial. We're going to quickly just run you through this. There's a number of tools that you can find on your main toolbar when you log into PSS EMR. Here's the main toolbar. As if you don't know what it is, this is it. And okay, so if you go to the third over, File, Settings, Reports, click on Reports, and the fourth or fifth up from the bottom, you'll find the audit, and there are the audit tools that I was referring to in another tutorial. So today we're going to quickly look at the lack of use audit. Now, just remember, these are tools that you can just do random audits. They're not definitive in any sort of sense of showing any sort of malevolent use or what have you, but what they can do is they can lead you to sort of where there might be some deficiencies in usage, and that you can investigate further using the transaction logs, which is what we will cover later. A little more complicated, and you need administrative abilities, but again, for daily audits, random audits, these can come in pretty handy. So today, we're going to look at the lack of use audit. So here it is, it's right at the very top. Now, the lack of use audit essentially shows how many days have gone by since the person last used the system. Primarily, in my opinion, what we find this useful for is just to show the amount of usage on the system. And so what it displays, again, like I was saying, is the amount of days that have passed. So it'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. And I'll show you that in a second. And onto itself, it doesn't show anything, but if you're consistently seeing people fall into certain numbers between usage, it'll give you an indication of how effectively they are using the system, or indeed if they have even been on the system within the last week or so. So I'm going to click on lack of use, click, and you'll see two things come up here. It'll be period from and period to. So if you right click on period 2, it'll give you the current month, okay, and you can scroll through it as such. Alrighty, so, and highlighted here is the day that we are currently in. So I'm going to actually do it right up to the day that we're at right now. Click that, and I'm going to start at the beginning of the month. Now I can go back by clicking this. I can go back, a year, 2 years, etc. But really, the information that you need to be looking at, you can find will be within a month, because after a month of usage, or of non-usage, so to say, the numbers just tend to get higher and higher. It'll become obvious that there are some individuals that aren't using the system that often, and ones that are. So, without any further ado, I'm going to start off on May 1st and click OK. Alrighty, so within here, you see a list of user ID, user last name, first name, organization, last login time, and inactive days. So I'm just gonna scroll all the way over here. These can all be sorted by clicking at the top, so either starting at A or starting at the bottom, okay? Z, so you can decide what you want, if you want to search for a specific person or have it in a particular order in terms of ascending or descending order. And last login time as well too, you can search like with that as well, so it can be the longest running dates, or the the closest, whereas you see here is 2017, and up to here, this is straight up to date to today. So this is what you want to look at here, is the inactive days after last login. I'll just try to zoom out a bit here so you can see the whole thing, and again, I can do a sort so that it shows you how many days. And as you can see, on the high end, it's over 1,000 days, and on the other end, you have 0 to 5 days. And here, this means that this person has not logged in at all. So they might not have, they might not have access to the system, or they may not have been an employee for that long. And indeed, as people's job positions change, they will still be on the system unless you mark them inactive, and they'll still keep accruing days that they were inactive. So as you can see, 0, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So today being a Monday, this means that this person is logged in today, okay? 2 days have passed since Friday, so that these people were all logged in on the Friday, Thursday, and going back, 4 days, 5 days. So essentially, if you look at approximately 7 days being a mark of, okay, have they been on this within the next week, sort of thing. So again, the way that I would use this is more or less just, first off, if you want to search for a person to see if they have even been logged in for a certain amount of time, or just look at the top people to see who is consistently using the system and who isn't. Now, generally speaking, if they're above 28 days or 30 days, that's a month with no, without having used the system. And the odds are is that these days will just keep increasing. So after 100 days, which is that's going to be over 3 months. Again, I would suspect that these numbers would just keep increasing and that there's very little to no usage in that area at all. But again, of interest would be these lower numbers here. So again, you can sort through the numbers, sort through the days, ascending to descending order, and then you can take this and you can do a report with it. So you can either save as tab delimited or save as CSV. Either the tab delimited or CSV can be brought directly into a spreadsheet, into Excel. CSV is a very common format, as is tab delimited. Just when you do import it, ensure that you indicate on Excel that is tab delimited or CSV. But in many cases, you can actually just click on the CSV file. I'm going to put it on my desktop and demo CSV, I will call it. Save. And as you can see, it appeared here. All right. I open up the spreadsheet. And I have to make this a little bit smaller. And I'm just, dragify this over here. Oh, it's not behaving. Nobody's ever had that happen, I'm sure. Alrighty, so I drag the demo CSV into here. And voila, it appears like magic. Okay, so here we don't need this first line here. I'll just take this out. Delete. And as you can see, then you can just import this table. Actually, this is a better way. Data from text. And I want to go to my desktop. Okay, I'll go find that CSV file. Remember, it's called demo. Import. And I'm going to say delimited, commas. All right. And finish. Say okay. And oh, look at that. Isn't that nice? I'm going to insert a couple of lines there. One. Just to make it a little easier for me to read. And I'm going to take out this line here because what I want to do next is make a table out of it. So I click anywhere where there's text, I hit Control A and Control T. And I'll say, yes, my table has headers. See along here, these are the header files, so that'll give it a title. If I had left that top line in there, it would assume that was the header. So that's why I took it out. I'll say, okay, and yes. And there you go. Now I have a sortable file, meaning I can do somewhat the same thing. Now, really, there's not a lot of analysis you can do with these files, but it's just to show you that you can bring it into a spreadsheet if need be, and if you wanted to collect these numbers over time. You might find some interest in looking at these numbers here and doing, frequency distribution. How often do you have people missing 2 days, 1 day, 0 days, 3 days, where you can count all the number of times 2 happens over a period of time. Okay, so with that said, thank you very much. That's the lack of use. If you have any questions, you can go to the help function. There's always a lot to find on there. On your main toolbar, scroll over, help, show help. And usually it'll come in fairly quickly. And you can enter anything you wanted. I'll enter audit. And there you go, system audit reports, audit trails, viewing the transaction log, etc. All right, so thank you very much. There are a series of recordings that you can take a look at that will go through all of the tools for the audit reports. Bye-bye.